Hello and welcome back. My name is Dana. Welcome, welcome, welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're not. Did I just say my name is Dana? Yes, I did. I'm excited to be filming this because I want to get this up as soon as possible. This is going to be a first impression, which I don't do a lot of on this channel. I feel like I've said that recently twice now, but I probably will not do much more than that. Just because I like to get a better handle on things, but at the same time, I think first impressions do have their place, and I think it can kind of like sway you, like if you're really, really wanting something and you see like, oh no, this is just not a good fit, that will help you kind of deter you from buying it. Or if you see it and you just know that's the kind of like what you're looking for, then you can buy it. So I will do follow-ups on this. This is actually going to fit perfectly into one of the major, massive videos that I'm doing. So don't worry, I'm going to be wearing this a lot. And we're just gonna jump in. I'm gonna be testing it a few ways. I am gonna be testing it on different kind of bases because this is a pretty matte foundation slash skin tint. And I just wanna see what it looks like on, different finishes. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna get this up as soon as possible so you can see what it's about. But if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and consider doing so below and give this video a like if you do enjoy it, and we'll just get into it. Okay, so I'm going to be applying this on both sides of my face, of course, but basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to apply one side with a sponge and one side with a brush. This is the same foundation brush. This is just an Amazon sponge, and I'm going to be doing it on top of a glowy base, which is what I have right now. Then I'm going to be doing it on, I wouldn't call it a matte base, but just like natural, like nothing on. Right now I have a sunscreen that is actually quite tacky but glowy, but that's what I wanted. I wanted this kind of like pretty radiant glow. And then the last one I will do, well, maybe I'll just do those two. We'll see. I had something in my head and I just forgot it. So let's get going. So this is the Too Faced Born This Way Healthy Glow SPF 30 Moisturizing Skin Tint. It retails for $40, so it's not cheap, but you do get 2.03 fluid ounces or 60 milliliters, which is a lot more than a lot of your standard foundations, which come in 1 ounce, basically double the amount. They say that this one is long wearing, light coverage, hydrating, oil-free, and it has your SPF 30 in it. So it's a nourishing serum foundation, which I don't know if I agree that either of those are correct, because while it's not really a serum, like I don't think of it as a serum, those are really typically like when they're very liquidy. This one just feels like a skin tint. So I think they're just trying to get you with the marketing by saying serum foundation when it's really just a skin tint. As far as ingredients in it, this one has coconut water, which aids in delicately replenishing skin's moisture levels, alpine rose, which supports your skin's health and radiance, and hyaluronic acid, which we all know about. It's supposed to be a medium coverage with natural finish. As far as the coverage, I definitely think it is medium. You get quite a bit of coverage with this, and I think the finish is what I'm the most interested in, because when I swatched it on my hand, I saw it was more matte and it felt a little bit dry. This one also says it's supposed to be hydrating, and then it's not matte, but they're saying that this one is a natural finish, which I'm very interested in. What I did right now is I put it over a much glowier kind of sunscreen base, but then I'm gonna take this off and make sure that I have a pretty natural, kind of more matte finish and see what it actually looks like on top of that. Okay, before I take it off, I want to talk about kind of application. So I applied this side with a sponge, this side with my brush, and I decided to do my forehead with my hands. You definitely can get coverage with the sponge. This is not a light coverage tint. This is definitely more of a, like if you're thinking of skin tints, they usually are like light to medium coverage. This one's more on the medium side for sure. It's gonna be harder to get a lighter kind of sheer coverage. If you do want to get that, I would say go in with a sponge and actually just apply the product to the sponge and then kind of dab it on your face. I didn't do that. I applied it with my finger and kind of just got an even base, which is what I do with both brush and sponge typically. And then, but I do think that you're gonna get more coverage when you use your hands or a brush. So if you do want less coverage, put it on a little palette or put it on the back of your hand and then dip into it. That's gonna be, I think, the best way because the sponge is gonna soak up a lot of it. I think this one is going to accentuate texture in certain people. I've been having some difficulty between my eyebrows with product kind of not really sitting well and just like not really curdling or anything, and it didn't do that. but it just didn't wear particularly well there. I also see like a little bit of pooling around my nose. So if you do have some trouble areas, I would say like maybe use a little bit less and don't add the coverage, because I think this one is gonna settle a little bit more in fine lines or in dry patches and texture. Yeah, so even here on my chin, just from me talking and kind of like being here for 5 minutes, it just doesn't seem like it's sitting super great. I mean, it might just be that this is one of those ones that you really need to go back in with a sponge and make sure it's all blended out. I also have a feeling that I'm gonna see a little bit more wear from this one. I typically notice that when it is a full, not full coverage, but this is medium coverage, so higher coverage. I will just see maybe like a little bit of, not piddling, but like wearing off around the edges of my face. And then of course my T-zone, that's where things kind of wear off the most for me. So I don't know if I can gauge the staying power right now. This is obviously just the first impressions, but my guess is that it may not be the longest lasting if you do have like a certain kind of base on underneath. But we're gonna know a little bit more when I take this off and put it on a dry face with nothing on, because I think that's what I'm most interested in. This definitely used the glow from my skincare, my sunscreen, to kind of like pick it up from underneath. So this looks quite glowy, and I was not expecting it with this. I think this is more matte than you are seeing, but we're gonna test it out in 1 second. So BRB. Okay, we're back, and this hair just wants to be part of the party. So we're gonna let him join. All right, so I'm working off of my White Barn palette. That's what I do. And I'm gonna put a little bit more on there, and we're gonna do the same method. This time I'm gonna do a little bit with my finger on the sponge side and then a little picking up with the sponge, just so I can kind of see the difference. By the way, nothing on my face. This feels like about as dry and matte as I ever want it. Pick it up from the palette.
Always make you smile, always make you smile. Always make you smile, always make you smile. Always make you smile, always make you smile. Always make you smile, always make you smile.
I almost always go over my entire face with the sponge after, just to make sure it's all blended out. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, just as I suspected, this is definitely more matte. I am seeing like a little bit of a glow, like it does pick up that, and I think that's what is kind of interesting to me, and that's why I picked it up, is because I figured, I think a lot of Too Faced products are more matte, and I was wondering like how this is gonna rank with those other products. Is it gonna be matte? But then it says healthy glow, like is it gonna be glowy? And I don't think it's glowy at all, but I think you can get a glow. Just like you saw when I applied it the first time, I had a pretty glowy base. I was actually just using the Ole Henriksen new sunscreen, which is quite tacky for a sunscreen and not greasy, but it's definitely got a glow to it. So it's an interesting product in itself, but you saw that glow really come through versus now, this is matte. Like you have a little tiny bit of a glow, and it maybe is like they say, healthy glow versus like radiant finish or dewy finish. Those are not what this is, but it doesn't feel like totally devoid of shine, if you know what I'm saying. The thing about it though is over time, I have a feeling it's gonna feel more and more dry, more and more matte on your face. And I don't think the ingredients that they listed in there are going to give you enough moisture if that's what you're looking for. Now, if you're an oily skin person or more normal and just want a matte look, this might be fine. But if you're dry and you're looking for moisture, this ain't it. So this comes in 18 shades, and I got the shade, say, light beige. I think it's okay. I had a hard time kind of picking out a shade because all of their shades just feel like very off to me. This one feels very orange, very like, just feels like it oxidized already, but I just put it on, so it didn't. But, you know, I can make it work, basically. I don't know if I could make this shade work in the like dead of winter when the rest of my body is very pale, but in the summer I could definitely try to make it work. Okay, so I think I have my thoughts on this. I think especially like, I'm gonna show you the close-up of it right now where it is feeling not incredibly dry, but it's looking quite matte. So this would look great on camera because you don't have that shine, but in person, you're gonna see it. Like I'm seeing my face and it does look matte. So I would just wear this on like Zoom calls or if you're filming something or in pictures, but maybe not the best for in person. So let's do a close-up so you can see what I'm talking about. Also, did I not blend it out there? Oh, I look so orange. But yeah, you're gonna see like all my fine lines and wrinkles there. Wow, this shade looks atrocious. And yeah, I think if you have dry patches, it's gonna accentuate those. Wow, that shade, like right in the middle of the lights, looked bad. But yeah, as I sit here, I'm just seeing like, this is not my ideal way to wear it. I would wear it under a glowy sunscreen, under some skincare. So I hope this helps. I don't love it. I think it's for a very kind of select person that knows what they want and maybe wants this more matte look. I feel like Tarte and Too Faced both just like are stuck in some, I guess it's like the 2000s, early 2000s, where, or early 2000s, 2017 maybe, where like the matte, like glam was the look. But now I think people want a little bit more glow or just like a little bit more of a natural finish. And I don't necessarily think this is it. You can make it work, like I said, with a little bit of a glowier base, but like you could do that with a lot of products. So I think it's a very particular person that's gonna like this and it's not for everybody, but I don't hate it. Will I wear it a lot? I don't know. We'll have to see. I think when it is hot and humid, I might. One last thing, I know I'm just talking and talking. I think my favorite way of applying it is putting some on a palette, your hand, and then dipping the sponge in. But that's how I would apply it. That would be my preferred method. So if that helps, I hope it does. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.